morning, everyone. Today is a fast day, the 10th day of Tevet, and fast day commemorates that the king of Babylonia, Nebuchadnezzar, laid siege on the walls of Jerusalem, and about 2 years later, he breached the walls of Jerusalem on the 17th of Tammuz, and then 3 weeks after that, he destroyed our holy temple in the year 587 BCE. So this is a story that goes back over 2,500 years ago, and we still commemorate it till this very day. Now, what's unique about the 10th day of Tevet is, unlike the 17th day of Tammuz, that the walls were actually breached, and the 9th day of Av, that the temple was set on fire and Jerusalem was destroyed, nothing actually happened today. They just set up camp around the wall. They laid siege. So why do we commemorate a fast day when there was no action taken against the Jewish people? The enemies just laid siege around the walls. And obviously it led to 2.5 years later to the breaching of the wall and the destruction of the temple. But the reason we mark this day as so significant, even though nothing physical transpired, is because this was a warning call, so to speak. Our rabbis tell us, why was the temple destroyed? The reason was that Solomon's temple was destroyed because there was baseless hatred amongst the Jewish people, as well as other various sins the Talmud discusses. And therefore, this was a wake-up call. Your enemy's at your gate. It's time to stop treating each other poorly. It's time to start showing a little love to your fellow Jew. And maybe God will reverse the decree. And God gave us 2.5 years to learn the lesson. But sadly, the Jews didn't learn the lesson. They kept up their inner battles and hatred of Jew against Jew, which ultimately led to the breaching of the wall and the destruction of the temple. And the tragedy is that we failed to seize the opportunity. We had time to reverse course, to see what's happening all around us. And you could apply the lesson to every generation, especially in our day and age. We have enemies all around us that are swirling, anti-Semitism, enemies in Iran, all over the world who seek our destruction. But do we have to wait till there's a tragedy to wake up and say we have to unite? Or could we unite now in advance so we ward off whatever may occur? And the Lubavitcher Rebbe always said something very beautiful. He said, what led to the destruction of the temple? It doesn't say hatred. It doesn't say sinat. It says sinat chinam, baseless hatred. Hatred without any reason. People just hated each other for whatever reason. No reason. Just, I don't like you. Ego, whatever it may be. So the Rebbe says, what's the proper anecdote or antidote? What is the response to rectify the sin of baseless hatred? Avat chinam, baseless love. You don't always have to have a reason to love someone, not because someone was good to me or I like them, just because random acts of kindness. I see a stranger, why not be good? Why not do chesed? Why not do kindness? And that's the highest form of love, where there's no motivation, no agenda, no benefit to yourself, purely good for the sake of good. You know, there's one expression amongst many that I can't stand, and one is kill them with kindness. Such an aggressive thing, right? Kindness, kill them with kindness. You don't kill someone with kindness. Kindness shouldn't be done with any motivation, not even to try to win them over or to get them to change course. But sometimes you try to kill someone with kindness, it doesn't work, right? Then you're frustrated. I tried to kill them with kindness. But the problem is your kindness was motivated with an agenda. You wanted to win this person over. Everything else failed, so now I'll try kindness. It was just another tool. It was another ammunition to get them to be on your side or to like you. There shouldn't be any motivation. Kindness stands on its own because it's a mitzvah. And even if someone wronged you and you have every reason to not like them, do kindness anyways, because kindness is always a positive. It's a mitzvah, as they say. And regardless of the outcome, regardless if the person is going to change their attitude towards you, you are doing the right thing, and you're always good when you do. And the more kindness, the more love, the more we rebuild the temple. There's a story I love telling about this guy who had a subscription to his newspaper. And he noticed when he comes out to take out his newspaper from the bag, sometimes it's creased, sometimes it's there's a coffee stain on it. He's like, I got a fresh paper, what's going on? So he watches from his window. You know what he sees? He goes out every day 7 o'clock to take his newspaper. He sees 6 o'clock, his neighbor comes, takes his paper, goes home with it, comes back 45 minutes later, puts it back. So the next day he says, I'm going to catch this guy red-handed. He sees his friend taking the paper. He comes running out in his bathrobe. What are you doing? Gun thief! You took my paper. The guy says, what's your problem? I returned it by 6:45. It's ready for you when you need it. He said, what are you talking about? It's my paper. How dare you take my paper? He says, you know, the Talmud says that if a person doesn't lose anything and someone else benefits, and you deny a person a benefit when it's no cost to you, then you're a cruel person. You're from the city of Sodom. What do you care? You read your paper at 7. I make sure to put it back in the bag at 7 o'clock. What do you want from me? You're a cruel person for denying me the right. What do you care if I get up 6 o'clock and read your newspaper? He says, I like a creased, a fresh paper. You know that feeling when the paper still smells off the printing press? I don't like a worn out paper. Anyways, the guy went to his rabbi. He said, Rabbi, who's right? Am I entitled to get my newspaper at the right time? Fresh, or can he take it because it's not hurting me in any way? I get to read the paper anyways. And the rabbi said, look, technically you're 100% right. It's your paper. If he touches it, he's stealing. But you could either get into a big fight with your neighbor over this and never talk to your neighbor again, or you could be smart. There's a mitzvah in the Torah of shalom, to make peace with people. It's a mitzvah like any other mitzvah. You spend money on eating kosher food, you spend money on buying a lulav and esrog, you spend money on matzah. Why not spend money on having peace with your neighbor? Go and buy your friend his own subscription. It costs you $50, $80, annual subscription. He'll have his paper, you'll have your paper, and you'll be at peace. He says, isn't it worth it for a couple of bucks to have peace with your neighbor? He said, Rabbi, that's a good idea. He went and ordered his own fresh subscription every day. And sure enough, the guy embarrassedly came to him a few weeks later and said, listen, I don't want you to pay for my subscription, no problem. He said, no, you can have it. It's my gift to you, no problem, right? And he made peace between him and his neighbor. And that's the way we should look at it. You don't always have to have a reason. You could be right, the other person's wrong, but nonetheless, you always seek peace. And the more love and the more unity and the more peace, the more we will merit to see our temple rebuilt in our generation.